me as a grown man, the fact that I could talk to a woman and not feel emotion, that's a problem, right?
Okay.
There should be some connection there. And so if I could talk to a woman and we can gain some connection, I need to be able to show that to the next generation. And if I can, then that means we have some hope versus we figure out how to like bash each other and not make it work. So that's my concept on that.
I feel like that answer like a 2-in-1 because that means you're emotionally intelligent for yourself. Okay.
You have a whole lot of that. That's like my regular.
So I think this all boils down to, it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. And a lot of guys who have gone on these shows, they act like they've never spoken to anybody before. Right. And I understand that part of it is that they're nervous. They're going on a show. It's going to be seen through, thousands and millions of people or whatever. Yeah. And I get it. I don't know if I'd perform that great on one of these shows either. I think this guy's main skill, though, is how he's able to communicate with people. So one of the things that he did in this was that he'd talk to one girl, but he'd leave the floor open for them all to talk.
So how does that look for someone who doesn't have any kids?
Oh, I have kids.
A new kid.
Yeah.
Everybody. Go ahead.
Which I thought was good.
No, for sure. Like, the level of confidence this man showed, I respect it. Because, personally speaking, I'll be honest. If I go on a show like this, I'll bomb. And but I'll bet you 8 out of 10 men would probably not do so well on a show like this. In large part because it lends itself to putting all of the leverage on that woman's side. Like I said, if you walk into that room and the first thing you hear is, pop, 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 your ego is going to be bruised.
Not only that, but not only they're popping the balloons, but then they have to go one by one and see why they said no.
I'm going to go ahead and pop this balloon.
Okay. All right. Let's move on over here.
It's just,
right?
Yeah, that's tough.
But I think part of this also goes to the kind of women that are on the show.
Yeah.
These women seemed a lot more reasonable. Like on the last couple of shows, you have girls who are popping guys because their shape was too crisp.
That's crazy.
Like all these crazy stuff just to go viral on the internet.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that. They were a lot more down to earth than a lot of the other ladies that have been on these shows before. He was very calm.
Yeah.
And just calm and confident.
Yeah.
And I could tell they were kind of captivated by him. Maybe that's just him, but I give him credit for that.
So do you think mouthpiece can make up for parts that other people may lack?
I think so. A lot of times what I notice women say is that men don't know how to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
He just can't hold a conversation. Men don't know how to hold a conversation. Now, granted, a lot of women don't give them much to work with, but it's bad on both sides, okay? But I will say I have noticed a lot of guys don't really have that, don't know how to flirt.
Yeah, I got a son. He's 5 years old. He's good, but he's bad.
Like back when I was in middle school, high school, flirting was a thing. I like to flirt, and I notice a lot of men specifically don't really know how to flirt these days, or disarm a woman and kind of for lack of a better word, or lack of a better phrase, not to sound too crass.
Yeah.
Talk a woman out of her.
How dare you?
Gotcha. I think that's two main things, right? Yeah. So I think the Me Too movement has scared a lot of men because there have been some men who were innocent, who've gotten accused of things that they didn't do. Absolutely. So I think a lot of men don't know where the line is. They don't know where flirty is versus where inappropriate is. So I think that's one major thing. Also, I think it's how society is now, right? So if you look at the early 2000s or maybe the early 90s where our uncles were young and stuff like that, most times people got their interactions with women in person.
Yeah.
Now it's through online.
Yeah.
So if you're used to doing things online, if you guys ever had a text conversation with someone online, right? And then you couldn't have the same text conversation in person. The joke doesn't land. It's different, right? So I think that's a major problem. I think that a lot of men just aren't exposed to women how they used to be. Even if you were to go to parties now, a lot of parties are phone parties. Everyone's on their phone.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's everywhere. I go out for dinner sometimes, and I'm sitting with the person I'm with, and I'm looking around. I love people watching. Everybody's on their phone. I'm like, why are y'all even at dinner together?
But most times, people are on their phone doing nothing. They're not doing anything. They're not. You're not a celebrity. What are you doing?
They're not. They're on their phone watching us. Shout out to Bad Decisions. Subscribe and like and yeah.
Shameless plug.
But yeah, it's pretty silly. But I mean, it's an addiction at this point.
Yeah.
I'll go to, this might be TMI, but I'll go to it's TMI, I'm saying anyway. I'll go to the urinal, and the first thing I want to do when I go to the urinal is pull my phone out before I pull my, what? I was like, whoa.
No diddy.
I'm just saying, it's a bad habit. Why do I need to check my phone while I'm standing there? Anyways, it's kind of off topic again, but.
I don't think I want to know the answer to that.
Okay.
One thing I did notice about this guy that a lot of men don't have is his congruency, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at his image, how he dresses, how he talks, even what he does for a living, it all goes together.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like a woman can see him, see how he talks and say, okay, that makes sense. So I think that creates a sense of comfortability around them because they feel like, okay, I can trust him. He is who he says he is. It goes along. Look at the way he's dressed. Look at the way he's talk. It goes along together. Why wouldn't I believe him? So I think he gives a certain level of trust to them. Is what I would say.
That's a good point. That's a great point, actually. I didn't even think about that, but now that you say it, it's clear as day.
And it makes sense because when he talked about his job, I don't know if you guys can hear it from this clip because we only cut out a short piece, but his job is to go around talking to other vendors, right? And I think it's vendors around natural plants or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That even goes along with why he's so good to communicate with people because he did sales.
So because he did sales, obviously he's not afraid of rejection anymore because he's faced it so much now that it's just regular to him, which gives an upper hand in situations like this.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're going around talking to vendors because you're gonna get shut down. Especially if you're talking about prices and vendors.
Yeah, for sure.
You're gonna get shut down. That's all about negotiation. So, what do you think a lot of men can take out of the situation?
At the risk of sounding like every other online content creator who's a male
And guru.
and guru, I think that men should take away from this, level up yourself in every way you can. Why? The more you level up yourself and you improve yourself, the more congruent you can become. And the more congruent you become, the more confident you just become naturally. And the more congruent you are and the more confident and relaxed you are, the better you will be able to then present yourself in a way to women, if that's what you want, to get what you want.
Yeah. What I would say is I think it ultimately comes down with being comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
Because after watching this, I don't think he cared.
Yeah. No.
I don't think he cared at all. I think that's the biggest thing. He didn't care.
Ooh.
I think a lot of times people go on these shows, they
Yeah.
care too much. They hear way too many balloons pop. Their whole confidence is shot. This guy, and let's be fair though, none of the balloons really popped.
No, they loved him.
But even if they did, I still don't think this guy would care. He just seems like he didn't care. He was like Snoop Dogging it all the way.
Okay, that's a good observation. I agree with you. How does one get to the point where they don't really care that much as a man?
I think it's like what we were saying before. You got to get used to rejection.
Right.
And rejection just doesn't have to just come from women. It can come from business rejections.
Yeah.
Getting rejected from school. Honestly, the more times you try, the more times you're at bat, the more times you're going to fail. You just have to get used to failure. And I think Will Smith has said this first, like, fail a lot and fail fast. I think the more people fail a lot, the more that they fail fast, the less they'll put so much into one thing. So, yeah, I think that's ultimately just comes down with being comfortable with yourself, gaining that confidence through experience because confidence builds competence. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Ultimately, guys, it's been a bad decision. I mean, I don't really think there's a decision to make in this case.
No, not really.
He just went in there and put in the work, and he actually popped a couple of balloons. Yeah. So, if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment. If you hate this video, leave a like, leave a comment. All right, decision makers, get some Riz. We're out.